Alright, hello and welcome everybody. My name is Tracy. We are broadcasting from Polestar and we're putting together a series of videos for you so that you can do a home practice. This particular mini-series is for myofascial release, which is to roll out different parts of your body. So you'll see in front of me I've got a few apparatus. I've got some myofascial release balls, so if you want to get serious, these are great to buy. You can get them pretty cheaply on eBay. They're called yoga therapy balls or yoga tune-up balls. But similarly, you can use pretty much tennis balls will do the job, or kids' handballs, which you can get cheaply. If you're in Australia, you can buy those at Rebel Sport. So these are great. If you're going to put a lot of weight on them though, they can break. So as I say, these are the best bet for you. To create this little tote effect, you can put tennis balls into a long sock and then you just tie a knot around them. I'm going to be using the yoga therapy balls today because they're going to suit me to be able to put them in and out of the little tote bag, so I'll chuck that off to the side. I've also got a block. You can use a stack of books, and I've got a roller. There are lots of different kinds of rollers that you can use. If you've got a very stiff roller or a hard roller, it's going to be obviously a lot more painful. The ones we use in the studio here, pretty soft, a sort of medium firmness, so they will yield a bit to the body. And that's quite important, especially when we look at rollers and balls. So for example, you'd want to avoid using a golf ball, especially on certain areas of the body, because it's going to be too painful. And it's the same with the hard rollers. So notice how it feels. We really want to keep a sense of relaxation through the body, because if you're bringing yourself to pain, your body may tighten up in response. So that's pretty much what we'll need through the series. A lot of it's interchangeable, so don't worry too much if you don't have a roller. You can substitute with other things, and I'll tell you what to do along the way. So thank you for joining us, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, hello and welcome back everybody. This little segment that I'm going to do is a release out through the feet and through the lower limb. So we're going to look at releasing out through the sole of the foot, into all the little muscles of the foot and the plantar fascia. And we'll also look at releasing out through the front of the shin, so the muscles that control the lift of the foot or the extension of the foot, and also your pronation and your supination. And we'll also look at techniques to release the calves. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my yoga therapy balls, and as I said in the intro video, if you've got tennis balls, you can use those. But I would avoid using something very hard like a golf ball, because it's not going to yield very well to your tissues. I'm going to take one of these little balls out of the tote. And before I start, I'm going to do a little test. Now I'm an excellent subject for this because I'm very tight through the back of my body. So I'm going to read into where I am at the moment by standing and rolling forwards. And what you might notice here, if we use me as a specimen, is that my hands are a little bit away from the floor because I haven't stretched and I haven't warmed up. So we're just really noticing where we're at. So if you'd like to join me in this position, standing up, lock your knees back just for the sake of the exercise. So for this, I'm allowing my knees to go back so that I can really read where I'm feeling tension and stress in my body. I'm going to notice which side is a little tighter. So for me today, it looks like my right side is a little tighter. So I'm going to bend my knees, come to sit back down onto the chair. You can do this sitting or standing. And I'm going to pop the ball underneath my right foot. I'm going to start to roll out into the sole of my foot. Start off quite gently so that you can just, ease into the practice. Some of us love to roll out our feet, but for some of us it can be quite painful, so go slowly. And I'm rolling out the whole of the sole of my foot, right from the back of the ball of the foot to the front of the arch, all the way towards my heel. And then I'm going to roll to the inside of the arch. So notice how I've brought my foot out to the side, really getting into the inner arch. And then I'm going to go onto the ball of the foot, into the back of the toes. If you're standing, this will give you just a little bit more downward pressure, so you can do that if you need to. And then I'm going to come all the way onto my heel and explore the whole surface area of my foot again. This is a really nice time to close your eyes, settle into the experience. Oh, you've got a runaway ball. And notice how you feel. So if you do have a ball that likes to run away, use a towel, and it will make the ball surface just a little less slippery on whatever you're using. And then once I've explored the whole surface area of the underneath of my foot, I'm going to bring my yoga tune-up ball right into the center of my arch, and then I'm going to start to press down with about as much pressure as I'd use to hydrate a dry sponge. So I'm going to press down and then lift up and press down and lift up, and I'm going to do about 5 of these. And I want to imagine creating the same amount of pressure as you would hydrate a dry sponge. So if you had it in a saucepan of water and you were pressing down and then soaking up the water. You can stay in one place or you can move the ball around just a little bit. Once you've done those, give your foot a squiggle. Go all the way around, just moving into the limb, giving yourself a bit of freedom, as if you were drawing a big squiggle down onto the floor. And if you felt any tension before and you want to give yourself a little bit of a more rigorous roll out through the bottom of the foot, feel free to do that. And then we'll bring the ball off to the side, and I'm going to do that little test again. I'm going to roll forward, hang my hands down, and see if I've created a little bit more ease on the right side. So I have managed to create that little bit of ease because I can touch the floor much more easily now with my right hand than with my left, and it just feels a little easier through the back of my body. Then I'm going to sit myself back down and give my feet a shake out. I'm only going to do one side today just for the sake of the video, but feel free to pause and do the other side as you need. The next area I'm going to focus on is my calf. So I'll come and take a seat. I'll pop the tennis balls in a sock and tie a little knot, or just pop them into a tote if you've got these tune-up balls. And then I'll reach my hands back behind me and I'll start to roll out into my calf. And what we can do here is we can explore this whole side line of the low part of the calf into the center and into the meaty tissue at the back. We do want to avoid the tendons, so we want to avoid the Achilles tendon by rolling into the meaty muscles. Here you can employ a couple of different tactics, rolling forwards and backwards. You can lift your bottom up if that's a little easier, but if you don't want to create too much weight into your hand, then you can just sort of slide your leg around. So I'm going to explore a little higher now, going up into the calf muscle, or the major calf muscle, the superficial calf muscle, the gastrocnemius. And then I'm going to turn my toes out and also roll out into the muscles at the side of my calf. So these are going to control the pronation of my foot, and then as I go a little higher, the supination of my foot. And you can experience quite a lot of tightness through that side compartment of the leg. If you come across any tight areas, stay on those tight areas and give yourself a little slide backwards and forwards. Feels pretty good. The other alternative is the roller. So you can grab hold of the roller and pop one or both legs onto the top of the roller. Lie yourself back. So this is a little more relaxed variation. And you can slide your legs out and in. So this is more cross fiber friction, allowing the toes to go wide and then the toes to come in. And slowly you'll move yourself up and down the roller. So you're getting into the lower compartment of the calves and the muscles through the side, the perineals or the fibularis they're now called. And then slowly make your way all the way up. And if you sense and feel any tension through the back of the legs or in any one part of the calves, stay on that area and give that area a little more tension. So I'm going to go all the way to the top of my calves, but avoid the back of my knee. So I want to avoid joint spaces and bones. So maybe you can hear that sound of me scraping my legs on the roller. And because I'm wearing long pants here that are fitted, I want to imagine that I'm sort of wrapping my pants around my leg in each direction. And it builds a little bit of heat, which helps with the fascial glider muscles. So now that I've got all the way to the top, I'll come back to any areas that were tight. And then when you're done, bring the roller off to the side, roll on up, and I'll show you how to roll out this front compartment at the side of the shin. So being aware that we want to avoid bones, because it's just going to be painful, we want to avoid the shin bone at the front and go into the tissues at the side. There's a couple of ways that we can do this. With the roller, I'll come into an all fours position, and I'll place my right leg across my left like so, and I'll come up onto my claws, or you can come up onto some blocks to give yourself a little bit more space. And then I'm going to roll forwards and backwards, pressing about as hard as I'd like to get that release out into the side of the shin. You can lift up, and if you want to create a little more weight onto that space, you can cross the other leg behind. So notice how I'm on a little bit of an angle here. That'll give you a stronger release. Or we'll come back to the yoga tune-up balls. And if you have these tennis balls in a sock or these, you'll place them down, place your shin bone right into the center, and then you can roll out whichever part of your shin that you need to, and find any little gnarly bits. And once you've found those gnarly bits, stay on them and do just a little bit more rolling forwards and backwards. Now at the end of all of that, you might like to do your forward bend again and see if there's any difference from side to side. So I can feel through my body quite a significant difference, whether my fingertips are lower or not. I can feel that there is a really different sort of feedback through the back of my right leg. So thank you for joining me for that segment. The next one that we'll do is the upper limb, the quads and the hamstrings and the hip.